Quick mic check. Hey guys, it's Nick with Program Practical. Coming to you Halloween night. Actually, yep, it's still Halloween. Coming with you a live stream. Working on a project right now. It's actually part of it here. Anyways, we're upgrading how you can use custom fonts inside of our project. One of the ways we decided to do that was with a drop-down menu, stuff like that. Looked around online. There weren't too many great options for that. So I decided to go ahead and write my own and get that up. Now, while that is working and going great, one of the next things we want to do is actually implement the ability to like type in the name of the font you're looking for and have that properly show the font, or like narrow down the list, because right now it's designed to where you can give it like custom font lists and stuff like that. By default though, you can load in Google, and I believe that's like 900 fonts or something like that. So we're trying to make it a little bit easier for users to find the font that they're wanting. So I'll show you what we got going on right now. Alright, so this is actually the project we're working on. So I have this on GitHub right now. I actually have two repos. The WebFont-Select is the main repo it sits in, and there's another one, WebFont-Select Rails, which is just a little gem that just binds up the CS, JavaScript, and stuff like that. It makes it a little bit easier for you to implement in a Rails application. So this code is primarily CoffeeScript. There's some HTML, CSS. It's not a lot of code. So what this is, it is a jQuery UI widget, and it's actually based on this GWF-Select. While GWF-Select is a great little plugin, problem is it is limited to only Google's fonts, and just some of the other things we're going to need. I was going to end up needing to change a lot of the code base, so I decided to just take inspiration from it and start a new project and actually do it under CoffeeScript instead, as a good exercise, since I do use that for my day job. Let me shrink this. There we go. So as of right now, we're still in pretty early versions, still getting everything settled. It's not quite used in a production application just yet, but it's actually planning on getting shipped hopefully later this week. To give you an example of what we're doing, this is actually, I'm in the middle of testing it, or testing some changes. So this is the test page. It's under an HTML page on the GitHub repo here, right there, index.html. And I give it a list of 3 fonts, and you can choose between them. Now you notice it jumps down the way it is. That is simply just because of some stuff I'm currently doing. Like I mentioned, we want this to be editable. So you can see here I can actually have a text box. So I'm just in the middle of actually implementing that right now. So the stylizing is off. I don't know if there's a way I can actually get this to show without having to undo my changes. Well, actually, that could be if you are new to Git, you might actually want to see this. So let me jump over to the proper GitHub thing. So if you want to go back before, like I haven't committed any of these changes yet. You can see I have these files changed. Now what you could do, if I want to show you what this would, the original form of this would be to use the command git stash. You'll notice there's nothing there except for this one because it's untracked. Now if I reload this will be the original. So this is how it acts now. So you can't edit this, you can't do anything like that. It's just, it is what it is. You'll also notice there's only 3, and that's because in this example project, we actually hand in 3 font families directly, just to kind of show off what the configuration file looks like. Alright, so, and if you have those stashed, and now you want those changes back, there you go, just with a quick git stash apply. Reload this now, and you'll see it's back to its broken state. Well, not broken, working on state. So what I had done to change this, where we are, to get you caught up from what's currently on GitHub to where I am now, essentially what I did was, actually I can bring up some changes. WebFont-Select Rails, there we go. We'll keep that, I guess. So one of the big things is I removed the read-only attribute, as we now want it to be edited. And then I'm currently experimenting with this right now, which this is working the way I expect it to. And what this is doing is essentially saying, on a key up or paste, it's going to fire off this function. And this is the function that we're going to start using to narrow down our font list. And then to make that input viewable, because before what it's doing is making an unordered list, and it's putting that right above or on top of the input. So to temporarily take care of that, I'm just commenting out the position absolute. We'll change that so it doesn't do that weird jumping that we see. And then of course all of this is rendered code, so we don't worry about this, but this is what you would use in production. So that is where we are right now. Yeah, so I'm excited to have you guys join along as we try and figure this out. I have a game plan in mind how I'm planning for this to work, but I haven't actually really implemented it. I'm still very new to the whole jQuery UI widgets. And some might ask, why a jQuery UI widget, especially when nobody uses jQuery anymore. Everyone's Angular, React, or one of the other million libraries out there. And that's simply because jQuery, in my opinion, is stable It's safe. It's been around for a long time. Projects I work in that even use Angular still use jQuery. I can't say the same for React, but also it's just a drop-down element. I've looked into what it would be like to implement this using Angular, which would be what we would need for the project. This project I work on is primarily Angular. Not only would that be so many more files and just a mess, especially when we're trying to get this deployed right away, but also I cut out a big user base. Right now, it's not just Angular. If you're a React user, well, now you can't use the plugin. Or if you are just like a straight up Rails person, I'm sure you use jQuery on your front end. If you're not using anything else, you're just kind of going the whole Rails route. You probably use jQuery, and being primarily a Rails person, I didn't want to cut that out. And it seemed to fit the bill with a honestly small amount of code. So a lot of thought went into this. A lot of research went into different products. At the end of the day, custom products seemed like it was going to be the best choice. So kind of catch up where I am now. As I mentioned before, I was testing out some code that measures key up and paste. So you see, like, as I do stuff, I'm just spitting some stuff out to the console. It's nothing great, but it's something just to, give me an idea of what's going on. All right, well, let's jump into this. So I'll move this back over here. And I plan to either go on a blog post or video about this later, but if you're wondering how I am compiling this Haml, Coffee, and Sass, I'm using a product called CodeKit. It is a fantastic product. This one you're looking at, you've seen it before and you're like, this doesn't look like CodeKit. I guess it's a single guy, he just released a new updated version 3, I believe today, because I could have sworn yesterday it wasn't, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, and I love it just because I've looked into so many different options on I don't want to set up a whole Rails project. How do I do this? And everyone's like, well, you have to set up an npm project and you go through all this other stuff, and there's so many files. And this product I like because it just works. It supports tons of languages and just transcompiles, and it just works. And the only overhead I get is like a single CodeKit configuration file. And so I'll probably end up having a more in-depth review video. I've been wanting to do one of like the tools I use, and this one is just fantastic when it's a small little project like this. So getting back to the code, let me bring this up to the screen for you. All right, we'll leave it there. Actually, you can probably do this because we don't need that file browser. All right. So this project consists of primarily just these two files, and then this Haml is just a testing page and like example page of what you need to run this thing. So what we're primarily doing in here is in the widget. I'm not going to go into this full thing just because it was a mess to create, and I just want to get this done so I can go to bed because it is 11 o'clock out here. And I told my boss that I would have this done tonight, so be ready for deployment tomorrow. I do not want to pull another all-nighter because my mouth gets me into those kind of issues when I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get done tonight, and then I feel the need it has to get done tonight. So one of the things that was so I just want to see what the printout of the value is for this guy. Give that a quick reload. I'm not sure if that actually updated. Let's see. Grab this real quick. All right. Well, that's not giving me the value. It's interesting. Do something real quick. Try and make this easier to select in the future. There we go. Well, it does save this value. Save that real quick. Load that. It's throwing me for a loop or something. Now, so I do use element on this, and I wonder if that's a problem. I don't think it should be though. I want to try this real quick though, because I haven't actually played with this, and although element makes sense, I'm just kind of like, well, why? Yeah, see, that still gives you that too. Now it's actually, let's see, line 50. So this is the benefit too. If you're wondering why I have a map, if you are new to this kind of stuff, here you'll see I generate a minified version of JavaScript, and I also generate a source map. If you want to see the raw JavaScript that is coming out, something that's readable and easy to use, you want to use Minify. That's more like production ready code, but I have it generate a source map, which essentially will point it back. So like, even though I'm in my web browser right now, I can see my coffee source file, and it tells me exactly, like, this came from line 50 in your coffee source, and it is the coffee source file. And that's what that map is used for. So it's very useful, but it's not even required when you go to move it to production. You can leave it out if you want to, and then it won't bother anything. But yeah, I do like that. Anyways, I was just checking to see if this create, I did do this. It's not giving me the value though. That's weird. That somehow is the value, but that doesn't make sense. See, it's saying value. interesting. Maybe I should be using a function. Let's try that. Where am I at? Let's see. Let's see what that does. Jump back to console. Yeah, see, it's just giving me the input tag. It's very weird. Not to say undefined. There it is. So I'm not getting the proper value I'm trying to play with over here. Otherwise that value would work. Try that real quick. Nope. Or do I even have to do that? Maybe I'm overthinking this. Hang on. Well, no, because that would be, I don't know. Like I said, I'm still learning this. So the reason it got me questioning was because I have this element value here. And this element CSS, and that all seems to work just fine. Element value. It's very interesting. Of course, as always, you want to roll out spelling, which is not a problem. In a second one real quick. Try that again because I'm not getting that secondary output. Oh, hang on. Dealing with CoffeeScript. Always gotta remember to do the return. Only getting one still. You're supposed to log the element. When in doubt, log a ding. It says it. I swear it's not updating. I'm gonna recompile this forcefully. currently waiting on this to compile. It's taking a long time. Watch, I've probably been doing this entire time, and because I had issues with this earlier, I actually had to turn off the coffee link or whatever due to a bug. Working with the developer right now to get that resolved. But watch, it won't compile. I mean, on the side note, if this doesn't compile, I can always just download the Coffee compiler and do it through the terminal, but it would be a lot more annoying than having an auto compile when I save. Alright, okay, there, see, if I do a syntax check, it crashes. But that was part of my madness because I wanted to see it. Let's see, CodeKit. It's a shame. I don't like the new logo for CodeKit. I like CodeKit. I like this new UI. Just that new icon. I like the old one better, but I see the appeal of this icon too. Okay. Well, that crashed on a compile. That's odd. We'll do a quick check inside of here to see if the let's see. Oh, it does have a syntax check. Okay, so I just finished compiling again. I'm so mad when this does what I expected to. Okay, we got an undefined, but yeah, so it was not compiling. That was the problem. The source map was updating. Oh man. Okay. Well, let's this val. Let's just see what that does. And I did get a, okay, I'm sorry. So, something you guys can't see, and I don't know how I would show you this without messing up my whole setup because I got my laptop on stand. So I'm on, so I got my laptop monitor, which does all the YouTube stuff, and then I got my, I have a 38-inch ultra wide curved monitor. Now what you guys are seeing over here is in the top left hand side of my monitor, just a small cutout section of it, so I have the rest of my screen to do other things in, and it pops up a notification on the top right when it compiles. So I'm looking at a completely different side of the monitor whenever, anytime I like save code, so I've just not been seeing that. So yeah, okay, so now we got a, this is not a function. Fantastic. So we're going to try this now, as we seem to be getting somewhere. There's the compiled message. So yeah, the program must have just been stuck up on something. Bam, look at that. Now it's increasing as I type. Awesome. Cool. That's exactly what we wanted. I'm going to get rid of this right here. I can even paste things in and pays attention to that too. Awesome. Alright, we'll only query that once. So what we want to do, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. What we want to do is query the data that's or the font list that we have, or list, because it does support multiple font lists. We want to query everything we have font wise, see if it matches what our user is typing, make a sub list of that, and then return said sub list, or work on generating something with that sublist. Which we already have lots of methods for generating things. In fact, I believe these font options, that's font URL, where's the font list? So see, here's the font options. Hang on, let me console. It's been a little bit since I worked in this one, so I'm pretty sure this is actually like the list that you get passed over, which would make this easy peasy. Yep. So that is straight up the list you get passed over, which means we can control the font list going in without having to change any major code, which is cool. Essentially what that means is that we can dive in and say, hey, make a new font list with this data, the data that we have already sifted through. Make a font list out of that. So let me close some of these actually, because we're getting got a lot of stuff going on here. So the create font list we'll want to keep open. The font objects I'm not worried about. Generating a font URL I'm not worried about. To style readable font name. Select font by name. I'm not worried about that right now. Select font list item. That's won't change anything, of course. Load fonts, that's the query in itself to actually load in the fonts. Load visible fonts, which again, not too worried about that right now. There's the toggle font list. And then here's the actual bind handler. So this is the part of the code that actually like attaches everything and makes it do what we need it to. So you see we bind click elements and scroll elements and stuff like that. I'm going to use this toggle font list. No visible font, selected font list. Let me do this real fast. Do a find. Create font list. That's where it gets called. And the create itself. We have an element after. Okay. So what that means is, so we use this element tag. What we might be able to do is just update that after part, literally, with the new font options. Now I wonder, I would love it if the font options could be saved, because here's what I'm thinking is, when we start going through the list, every time we type in a new character, we don't want to have to query the same 1,000 fonts. You just want to query what you have. Now that also gets into the idea of pre-optimization, right? Optimizing before there's an actual need, which is a no-go. So we're gonna shelf that for right now, but keep it as an idea that might be something we might have to deal with. So we have this element after right here. Let me see if I can actually get to that element from here. So what I'm gonna do is just do a console log at element after, like that. It is undefined. I'm pretty sure it said that about this too. So let's try this again. We do have an undefined. What does element actually give us? And once again, do I really need an element, or can I just use this? Because I'm pretty sure I can. Yes, that's just being weird. So I'm gonna after that and log. Here we go. That's still web font input. Yeah, so it's still that web font input. That's not gonna do anything. Guessing that create does some things and I just can't. And we still have the this. Well, let's first work on the first issue at hand, and that is we want to generate a smaller list of font options. Now I pass in font options to most of this, and the question is, do we need that really? Options, use fonts. Alright, we'll do a couple more console logs here. Console log, use fonts. That should not do anything. Yeah. Now I don't think options is available either. Pretty sure that's all just in that instance variable, but we're gonna give it a shot. Yeah, so that's all undefined too. I guess I'd be in options. Well, not necessarily though. Well, I guess it would be though. Well, that would be the options, wouldn't it? That should be an instance variable of options. Yes, that's supposed to... We're given an instance variable. We've set it to options. See, I'm supposed to be able to have element, target, event, goes from there. Propagation. Alright. I'm starting to get tired. I need to wrap this up. Do a quick test real fast. I don't know if this would properly... Compiled, reload, and bam. Well, hang on. What? Two lower cases undefined. Not sure. Yeah, I'm really confused on why it says two lowercase. Now we compile this real quick. Two lowercase. It's undefined. Weird. How odd is that? Yeah. Now, I will say I did use the use fonts. I also use an options merge list. Well, we'll see. Still not happy about that 2 lowercase. Font options. I don't see anything that would be hard on it. Merge list, that's just along the variables. Alright, it's supposed to just be like that though, man. It's how you get it undefined. Try one thing real quick. I'm going to try and force that into an instance variable, which I believe means I need to update you to an instance variable. I don't know why I just did that, because I need to define use fonts as an instance variable. Okay. There's just more undefines. Piling complete. That's compiling without issue. Oh man. Alright, we're going off of the documentation for on. We'll try one extra thing. before I start banging my head against the wall. So we have our create on. There it is. So it's saying I can find an extra thing here, and we'll call this fonts. And we're going to use fonts like that. Save that. And theoretically, we're supposed to be able to call. I do have to change this. Hang on. Change that to event. Call event data fonts like that. Okay, well, I compiled. Nothing bad yet. There it is. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Worked just like we were wanting to. So, to recap, we had to pass event data into it, and it actually goes, interestingly enough, before the handler right here, and JSON kind of format. So we passed in a fonts object. We just passed in the use fonts object and then call that. And then down here we just needed to add an event, and it is accessible via the data fonts. Hang on, my wife's messaging me. It's a fingers crossed emoji. Yeah, it's like no fingers crossed emoji. Weird. Oh well. Do what we can, I guess. No, I did want. I can never remember how to disable notifications. No, that's not it. That's not it either. Let's see. Notifications. There we go. Turn the do not disturb on. Oops, hit my mic. Sorry if that hurt your ears. Oh, my keyboard shortcut for turn on do not disturb on and off got changed. Weird. I'll deal with that later. Got it off now, so hopefully that won't be a problem. I'm also going to attempt to turn music on and hope that my mic properly blocks it so that YouTube doesn't get mad at me. see what that sounds like on YouTube real quick. See what that sounds like on YouTube real quick. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. But I don't think it's enough for me getting in trouble. All right, so we have our object now, which is fantastic. And so another newbie tip, if you're in Chrome, I'm not sure if anyone else does this. If you print out an object like this, you can right click and then say store as a global variable, and that gives you a nice little variable now that you can play with and go, you know, what all can I do with this, you know, that kind of stuff. So anyways, we'll need to go through because we're gonna want to mirror the options, because mind you, all the options that get created are based on this object. So all we're trying to do is go through the object and weed out values we don't want. Right now is just a couple layers, but you know, you could have a custom link. There could be other groups outside of Google. I feel like we actually have an array that does that already in this project. Let me just see real quick. So essentially we're just going to want to go through each one and kind of iterate through this. I'm going to grab this so I can just do some random searching. Let's see. So one of the things I'm doing right now is just jumping on the MDN and just taking a quick refresher of what methods we have. And what might be best. So that one of the tricks you'll want to remember too, and this code shows it, is once you get into the families map, it may be a straight array or it may be an object, and you'll have to handle that properly. And that was just for ease yet dynamic employment of these options. So that's just something to remember, that you may need to copy an entire object, or you may not just looking just for a font, but you might have to go all the way down into names and get through that. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, I'm gonna do real quick. I'm gonna pull this to the side. So we have this temp one here. So we have that function, key, families. Just gonna do that real quick. Alright, so we got that. Family switch. This one in particular is just an array thing. Right, so that'll get us into the actual sorry. Trying to pop my neck, it's not working. Let me just take a look at this. Trying to think of what to do once we have those options. The object. This one specifically is working with an object. And there's ways around that. You can do yeah, I wasn't gonna work on that because that's an array at this point. You'd have to do something like map or each or some kind of enumerator to shuffle your way through. Map is probably going to be our best bet here. So this is what I'm looking at right now. So as this says, map method creates a numeray with results. Calling a certain thing on an array. So that'll probably be our best bet because we can do some good logic inside of there. Another option, let's see. There is a filter option, which I mean we are filtering technically, but I don't know if we're filtering at this level yet or not. So this one creates a new array with all elements that pass a test implemented by the provided function. So that could work as well. So filter might work because that can help us. So if we wanted to play with, I don't know if, I'm not sure what's playing too much in the console because we have limitations, with this, but anyways. So I can do a function, and we'll call this is match. Yeah, that's fine. Match is fine. We'll call it name. Okay, and we'll say, let's see. Well, for this one, well, do I want to? Yeah, we'll just do it this way. Return. Can I do a double callback this argument? Am I able to pass in? Object undefined. Because I need to know if it's actually filter. The index of the current element being processed. Okay, we might. It says the callback has an element, an index, and an array. So the current element being processed, the index of the current element being processed, the array, filter, the array that filter was called upon. Array, index, base array. Let's give this a quick test run. Filter is match. Yeah, that's the base array each time. Okay. And we have the index, so we know it's being called. Well, I guess that still doesn't help me though, does it? Oh, I do have this argument though. Value passed when executing the callback. Return name equals this arg. As match Lato, is that one of them? I think so. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. This argument, I just need to do it. Extra dot name, and I also don't have this fun here. We'll try this one. Okay, so we're still not getting anything back though. Also, question if I actually need all of that, the index base array of this argument, just to get that. The first time it's ever given me a time to go to bed. It's also kind of depressing that it's like, go to bed now and you'll get a full 6 hours of sleep. It's like, oh, beautiful. This argument. And then it invokes the call time. That's actually a good question. I'm gonna do something real quick. Hang on. I'm pretty sure this argument. It's been a while since I've actually used one of these. All I have to do is still just call this, and the fact that I have like this argument, it'll just give me that back. Yes. In fact, it gave it me in a very strange way. So yeah, so all I have to do is have that, but all right, well, hang on. All right, well, as interesting as this is, I have to go to the restroom real quick. Probably top off my water, but I will be back in a minute to continue on while I puzzle through the next steps on what to do with this. So I'll be back. All right, and we are back. Just jump right back on the screen. Get my new water. So we will, so I find that very odd. I mean, main reason why I say it's odd is just because the way it's deciding to do this. Sorry, I messed that up. Okay, so I just want to see if name equals return. It's still not returning any of those. S-I-N S-I-G-N, okay. That's right. I should find it. Oh, that's right. This is an object. I'm gonna actually do dot name. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's see what this object looks like. Okay, and that is the full object that we are expecting. So that's fantastic. Okay, so we can make a method for isMatch. And have it do a chance against this string, do a filter on each, and that will give us a new object. Okay. It's not bad. And then I'm thinking what we do here. So right now I'm doing a console log, but instead of a console log, we do a temp1 key equals get rid of that. Does that actually work though? Because it's supposed to be returning. Because we get this back. But that's not families, that's not anything. Compared to this, which turns into that, which turns into a families thing. Families, like that, equals the value families. We're just trying this out real quick. Families of an array of 1. I mean, that is right. That was the old one. So instead we have this. Accelerate URL generation. Yeah, that works. So this function right here works with our little match function from up here. Sorry if I don't sound too excited. Very tired. Didn't sleep very well last night. We were in Columbus, Ohio, which was cool. We went to the zoo out there, which was really fun. Highly recommend it, although their aquarium's not very good. But their planes and everything are really cool. So, I mean, more than enough to make up for the car ride. Very enjoyable. Anyways, our dogs were, well, they weren't alone all day. My family was here, but we felt bad because we were gone all day. So we let them sleep in our bedroom with us. And we have a Great Dane. It's very hard to share a bed with her. We use a queen size mattress right now. Before we had a king size, and it's actually in our guest room now. We just like the queen better. I didn't remember when she was a puppy, that king was not enough. So it was a very bad night of sleep. Needless to say. So I'm very excited to get back to bed, or get to bed. So we have the search font list. I'm gonna come down here and make a new method. And and we're gonna call it what? Filter fonts. Filter font list. I guess that's fine. We're gonna call that font object right now, like that. Now, like I mentioned before, we don't know, like in this initial test that we did here, in the initial test we did here, you know, this was an object with a name, but it could just be a list of arrays. We've done that logic before down here. You see it's right here. I'm just going to copy this. And all I do is essentially a quick test to see what is the type of this object. If it is a string, we know we're just dealing with an array, nothing special. If it's anything else, then we're dealing with the object. And we have standards. I don't have that documentation typed up yet. But we have, you know, standards. I mean, you can see it in the example up here. You know, you can do either this, which is name URL, and really we're just looking for the name in all this, or you can do this, where you just give us a list or an array of the fonts. So, anyways. So if it is this, what we're going to do is a return name or font object equals that. So one thing you'll notice is inside of here, if you're new to CoffeeScript, I'm only doing a double equals here, where inside our test here, I was doing triple equals. Depending on how new you are to JavaScript, there is a difference between double and triple. In JavaScript, double equals would, here I can show you. Double equals can do stuff, or will test value regardless of type. So like this equals true, even though, well, yes, they're both technically 0, but one's a string and one's a John Blank, one's a string, one's an integer, where a triple will actually test type of. So not only does it have to be the same value, but it has to be the same type. Now in CoffeeScript, it actually is going to compile all double equals to triple equals, so you don't have to do that. It's always just assumed you want it, and that's actually one of the things I've been asked in interviews before. They're like, we notice in your JavaScript you have these double equals. Do you know the difference? Not realizing that actually looked bad in code. It's one of those where it's like, oh well, I was actually, it was no user input. It was doing some calculations based on controlled environments, so I wasn't worried about it. But you know, in easy, you just rattle off that answer, and they're like, okay. Took me a while to figure out the type of thing, but yeah. So because this is CoffeeScript, you'll see double equals everywhere. Alright, so getting back to this. So we're going to do a quick test to see if it matches the toString. If it's not that, then we know it's an object. There, and that's our filter object. And so I'm going to come back up here now, and we had our a pretty good font list there. So what we're going to do, font options, new font, or let's call that filtered. Alright, so filtered font options. I think this is the best place to put this. Yeah, it could be fine. How do I do it down here? We did concatenate on the fonts list. Oh, I can start with that. We'll start with event, and then we'll call a each with the filtered fonts object, and we'll call we'll have a key. Object, well, yeah, I'll just keep that like that. Alright, so I have an inline function here. And then just like before, we're just gonna do a filtered fonts object. Now because we did the event mirrored over, it should have the key and all that kind of stuff, so we're just gonna say key. We're going to hard code in families, knowing that that's what it's supposed to be saying. And then, so So the families object dot families dot, and then we're going to filter it with current input and it's supposed to be the method. Filter font list and current input. Alright, and that will be that. We'll put a return in down here. I believe that is all we need. So then what I want to do, go through filtered fonts options to see what it says. Now actually, that's one thing I did not think about. This is testing pure matches, not partial matches, so we'll have to deal with that. We're just going to see if this gets us where we need to be right now. Filter of undefined. Nice. Do a quick Pistarino keyboard event. I know what I did wrong here. Not supposed to be a data.font. There we go. Cannot read property length. At what point did I tell it length? Let's see what happened here. Search font list 52. There's a dispatch and then there's an I. Search font list. Okay, 52. Make sure that's actually right here. Okay, yeah. Each filters fonts options. I did say console.log filter fonts options. I still need to see what that is. It's undefined. I bet it was fonts, wasn't it? See, this is why you don't program this late at night, kids. Yep, it's fonts. Like that. Bam. It does have issues with undefined being a function, but one thing at a time. It's still giving me 3. That's because of that. Undefined is not a function. Undefined is not a function. Oh, I see. It's having issues with that. Oh, that's because I'm in. Okay. I've ran into this before. Let's make a self equals this. And this will be a self. Save that. Probably save the error to that now. We'll see. Undefined is still not a function. That is accurate, right? Yeah, it's accurate. Self equal to this. It's typically how we get around that. Just realized I'm in my sleep deprived state. I'm not actually showing you what's happening over here. So what I'm doing is once I put in that one that should, well, that one really won't show it. We're getting this right now. Undefined is not a function. So what's happening is it's undefined is not a function. Maybe whatever what the problem is. Well, one thing we can test real quick. I'm pretty sure that's what we had, wasn't it? Yep. Families. Oh, I bet. No, we got an issue. Failed to compile. There we go. That compiled. Jump back to this. See what this does. No, we still get an undefined is not a function. Family object. Do a quick check here. Okay, and that does give us this object, which the only other issue I could see would be that it's having a hard time. CoffeeScript should be putting that in, but it could be having a hard time with it. I'm still getting an undefined is not a filter. Undefined is not a function. It's only happening that one time too. I thought I just defined it. Did I really not define it? Come on, Nick. Alright, one thing I would like to do is I'm going to actually come in here and I'm going to say don't do minify, don't do a source map. Just give me the actual source of this so we can see what's going on. Now I can see what we're putting out. So actually, as you can see here, this is the legitimate JavaScript, non-minimized. So we can see what's happening and try and figure out what we can do to resolve this. The issue is it's still right here. The only other thing going off this would be maybe like popping it out like that. It's kind of a long shot, but that didn't seem to mirror properly. See here, you can see it's working, or it's still like that. I'm gonna try this real quick. Let's see. Saved file system, that's fine. I'm really confused by this. Let's break it out a little more. Okay, like that. Give that a reset. Okay, 64 families. The only thing I think of is gotta be this thing. I mean, it says undefined is not a function, and I just don't quite grasp it, because I mean, this is a function. I was just talking about this not being a function. It should just be weird because I mean, we do that same kind of thing other places. Like right here, self to font style. Even here's the one without an argument. Self font list. As long as you define self as this, it should work without a problem. So we do this search font list. do the self equals this. And wants to give us a crap for using it. Assuming that is the problem, which more likely is. Let's see. The timer is really not on right now. That's annoying. Alright, well, that's, yeah, of course an error countered. It's annoying. Oh well. We'll get to that later. Let me actually review this function. So this is our filter font list here. Return font object equals. Yeah, I mean that should be firing off as expected as long as it can actually see it, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a way we can actually debug that. I mean, well, that does say undefined. Let's see. What if I tried? I also haven't actually verified that this is a proper variable. I mean, I would assume it should be working for us just because, I mean, like I said, we use it other places just fine. So that just give us our general. See, since I'm not inside a enumeral at this point, what does this do? Because for some reason in this function, we've been having a lot of issues with this variable. I guess let me double check. 4 now. The spacing's right. That's undefined. Oh wow, if we use a different function. Nope, and that is also coming through as undefined. Here, I'll get that up there so you can see it. Okay. So that's an interesting bit we're going through, just because this is a built-in function, just like, I mean, this function's being built out the same as all these other ones, but it doesn't seem to want to use the this variable or any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, because like when we use it here under the create font objects, it works just fine, and giving us proper scope to call functions from the other means. Alright, I'm really lost on this. I mean, based on what I can tell, it is no different than any other function I have in this program. And yet, I don't have the ability to call the variable this. And I'm not sure why. And it's the same same method. Maybe this is my issue. Maybe that would maybe explain it. Let's see. Oh wait, it's not gonna work because I still have this broken. No, it's still saying this isn't function. Yeah, it's saying this is still undefined. Fonts, elements, use fonts, self, search font list, which we know that's working. I just matches that now. Saying this doesn't equal anything though. Which of course means self doesn't equal anything. Gosh. This is annoying. It's getting near 1 a.m. so it's just like, you know, I gotta be up and I don't even know. Gotta be up early, I know that much. I'm guessing 6 hours maybe. I probably have to be up at 7. My alarm normally goes off at 6, but I'm going with my wife to her work in the morning. Pick up our other car. It's there. I'll probably go work out of a Starbucks for a while because I'm one of those pricks who goes sits in a Starbucks all day. Not all day, but I do go sit in there for a while. So the search font list events, current input, this value, filtered fonts options, console log, this, filtered font options. I mean, the current input's still working, so it makes me think this definitely isn't going to work right now. I don't know. 59. Which one's 59? Console log this. It's still saying this isn't a function. I guess that's post self. I don't know. Filter fonts list is not a function, but it is. How do you convince it, you know? Not a function. So one of the things you could do is, move it up here, but this has never worked, and I think that's because of, you have to remember this is a jQuery object, so theoretically all of this is loaded in before anything gets fired. Yeah, it's still not defined, even moving that above it. Yeah, I don't even know, man. Well, I think this is gonna have to beat me for tonight. I mean, it's 5 to 1. And I'm shot mentally right now, so I can't come up with a I just can't come up with anything else to test. Well, yeah. Alright, guys. Alright, well, thanks for watching if you stuck around this long. Yeah, I can't figure out what it is. It is, like I said, at this point 3 to 1, so I'm just fried mentally. Honestly, it's probably something obvious with the code that I'm just not seeing this while being this tired. I'm wanting to have it done, for tomorrow. I mean, well, sorry, tomorrow. One good thing is I'm 3 hours ahead of everybody. My wife wants to be at her work at 8, so it means I'll have a couple hours to figure this out. Because it really shouldn't be too bad. So the trick is, we know from our testing in the console, this gets us a sub array of things. So the next thing to do would be to through this list, so have that fire off, go through the list, create a sub list, and then there's so there's a method create fonts list, which we would pass in the new fonts list, the merge option, and so we would pass that over. That would create a new fonts list for us, and then we would override the old unordered list with the new one, the new filtered one. We also need to build in a function, or a condition, I should say, that if the event is empty, so if they cleared out it resets and uses the full font list. And in other words, it just skips over this and does the rewrite. So that kind of those issues really should not be too hard. It's just figuring out why the context isn't working, why it's not figuring out that it's this. Anyways, so I hope to have something up on more likely push it up to GitHub as soon as it gets done. As this will be adding a new version, we'll probably move it up to version 0.2, just because that's going to be a minor bump, adding a feature, not just a bug fix. And but guys, I'm tired. I have to go to bed. Actually need to send off an invoice, but anyways, thanks for watching. Once again, I am Nick Hollis with Program Practical, and this was a very long, daunting live stream of trying to add a feature to a open source gem I have. If you want to see more on this gem, you can find me and the gem at github.com/NickOllis, and that's NICOLLIS. But thanks for watching, guys, and have a great night.